Yo, what is going on, everyone? And welcome back to another YouTube video. For any of you guys that are new here, my name is Levi. Now in today's video, I'm gonna be taking you guys through my top 10 lifting and running accessories. I was kind of surprised I'd never done a video like this in the past, especially when I was predominantly doing lifting. But back then I didn't even have 10 accessories that I felt were necessary for lifting. So with the inclusion of running, it kind of helps to make that number 10. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. That was a little too early, like I just didn't time it right in my head. Now the first accessory that we're gonna be starting out with is shoes, and we're gonna focus on the lifting side of the shoes first really quick. So for shoes for lifting, the only shoes I think that are necessary are squat shoes. Now the thing with squat shoes, and the reason that I think that they're a necessary accessory, is because they help a lot with your squat form, because when you're not wearing a shoe specifically designed for squat, you can kind of like, I would say, mess up your form a little bit. You can push through your foot in different ways. In other words, like when you squat, you're supposed to specifically push with your heels. And when you're not wearing a squat shoe, you can kind of get away with like pushing up toward like your toes and stuff. I'm pretty sure we've all experienced that, where we're squatting and like we kind of like lean forward a little bit and our heels start to lift off the ground, which is not good. And so by wearing these shoes, they're gonna keep you pushing through the heel, because if you start to go on your toe a little bit, you're gonna fall forward. So wearing these shoes really forces you to have better squat form. It also made my squat over time stronger, so I feel like these are necessary. For running, you're gonna need 2 pairs of running shoes, and I only brought one out here, and that's okay. So I have the Hoka's right here, but the reason that you want 2 pairs of running shoes is because running shoes are designed for different kind of specifications or different sort of things. So for example, these shoes right here are good marathon shoes. They're like the number 2 or number 3 marathon shoe. And then I also have another pair of shoes which are specifically for trail running, not necessarily meant for road running and, you know, long distance running. So you're gonna want at least 2 different kinds of shoes for running. Again, some shoes are built more so for long distance than others. Definitely look into that. And also I do want to say this, get fitted for your shoes, because that's one of the first mistakes I did when I first ever got my first running shoes, and it sucked. Like it hurt my feet so bad. So definitely get fitted for a shoe at like Fleet Feet if you guys have one near you. If you guys want any recommendations on running shoes, I would definitely check out Hoka. A lot of people like these. And then I would also check out Allbirds. Those are my top 2 favorites so far. I feel like Allbirds are my all-time just like favorite comfort-wise. These are my all-time favorite like road running wise, so that's that. Now the next accessory that you need, and it's more so catered toward running, is something to carry around your hydration easily. Now this right here is a running pack, or in other words, a lot of people know it as a CamelBak, even though it's not the CamelBak brand, it's the Nathan brand, which is also a really good brand. Now the reason that this is important is because when you're out doing long runs, you need some sort of hydration on you, or else you're just going to cramp. Now you don't necessarily need one of these bags right here, because I will say, like, I personally don't like running with a bag on. It's just, I feel like it doesn't necessarily mess with my form, but it messes with me psychologically, making me think that it's messing with things when really it's not. So then I start running differently because I'm in my head about it. So if you guys want something different, I know Nathan sells like these hand bottle things that you literally just put onto your hand and it just slips on really easily. Yeah, definitely carry around something for hydration. As for the gym, you guys know me, I carry around a jug. Simple as that. The third accessory we have is, if not the most painful accessory, which is a foam roller. Now, the reason that this is the most painful is because if you guys have ever foam rolled, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I really don't need to say much about it. And it's funny because I never imagined myself ever really using a foam roller seriously like I do now. Because back in 2021, I didn't really think that foam rolling was necessary. Like I remember I had this ex I was dating at the time, and she would foam roll, stretch, and do all this stuff. And one time she had me foam roll, and I foam rolled, and I was like,
dude, this hurts, like I don't want to do that.
And then over time, once I started getting more into running, I started to figure out, like, after I foam rolled, because I tried it a couple times, I was like, man, I feel like a lot better. And then I started to realize, like, after, you know, my runs and whatnot, or even during my runs, I wasn't as tight. And so this is definitely a necessity, not only for running, but also for lifting too, because I was foam rolling with my previous ex before I was even running, and I was still super tight. and I think it's definitely helped me a lot in my lifts as well. It's not only a good investment for your health, but I also think it's a good investment for your progress. So definitely check it out. Again, 25 bucks on Amazon. Now, the next accessory you're gonna need is something that I thought I was never ever going to need until recently. And I saw it. It's funny because even after I saw it in someone else's video on accessories, I thought like I wasn't even gonna need it, even though I felt like I had pretty much been warned to get it. But that's gonna be either chafing cream or duct tape or some sort of tape. And the reason being is because recently I went on a run, and after my run, I got into the shower and it literally felt like someone had cut my nipple off. So essentially what had happened is when I was running outside, my shirt was rubbing up against my nipple so much and it chafed like crazy. So then when hot water was on it, it just burned the living hell out of my nipple. And if you guys know anything about how like sensitive nipples are, like they are the most sensitive thing in the world for whatever reason. Like I'm pretty sure you guys as well as me, whenever we see someone with their nipples pierced, we're like, what the hell is even that? That looks so painful. I don't even know why you did that. You're crazy. Now, the next accessory that you're gonna need is a belt, and this is gonna be an accessory more so catered toward lifting, obviously, because I don't think anyone runs with a belt on. If you do, you're weird. You don't want just any belt, and I really want to emphasize on this accessory right here because I can't even tell you guys the amount of times that I've been into a gym and I see teenagers with just some of the most crappy belts on ever. And I know some teenagers, even if you're a teenager watching this video, or if you're anyone watching this video that can't afford a nice belt, you might use that as an excuse as to why you have a cheap belt. But my counter argument to that is don't even waste your money on a cheap belt, because I know a cheap belt is probably around like $80, no less really, and that's not gonna help your back really at all whatsoever. So don't even spend the money first off, and second off, save up until you can get a nice belt, because it's gonna be an investment not only for your lifts, but it's also gonna be an investment for your health. So I'm speaking about this because I've had experience in lifting with a crappy belt. So as soon as I stopped lifting with my dad and going to my community college gym, I was using their belts, and let me just say, like, I'm like a loss for words, because it was just, I realized later on how bad it was for me and how much more lower back and hip pain I had because of how, you know, the belt I was using. So invest in a good belt. I have an Inzer right here. Another good brand is Cardillo or SBD. Definitely 3 brands that I strongly suggest. I think like they're the only 3 brands that I think you guys should get, unless there's another brand out there that you guys know. Put it down in the comments if you're watching this and you know of other good brands for people out there. Now, the next accessory that we're gonna go over is what's on my left hand right here, which is the Garmin Forerunner 55 watch. Now, my favorite thing about this watch is that it records information from both my workouts and my runs. And that's awesome because, especially for my running, I need to know my heart rate to run in zone 2 training. I also like to see, you know, the pace that I'm running at in case, like, you know, I have like a race coming up and I can see, you know, oh, okay, I'm running at a 7-minute per mile pace, which is what I need to be at, which is super essential. And then also for my workouts, which I like a lot, is that I can set a timer on it and it starts buzzing and going off to let me know when my next set is. And overall, just shares information that I think is super helpful, especially for your training. So definitely invest in this. Now, there are tons of specs on the Forerunner 55, but it is one of their lower models. So I wouldn't suggest going any lower than this model. If anything, I would go up a model from this one or this model specifically. Also, one of my other favorite things about this watch right here is that I connected an app to it called Structured. And so when a notification goes off on my phone to do something from my to-do list, it notifies me on my watch, and then I'm like, all right, gotta go do the next task. So this thing is freaking awesome. One of the best investments I've ever made. Got it on Amazon for like 170 bucks. The next accessory, which goes kind of hand in hand with the watch, because I was talking about your heart rate, is this right here. It's a heart rate monitor. For those who don't know, it goes on like this. So the reason that this is super essential and important to me is because even though, you know, your watch records your heart rate, the heart rate that the watch itself records isn't necessarily accurate. Like, I wouldn't trust it, in other words. So if I'm running with this watch, it might say like, oh, your heart rate's at 120, but then I put the heart rate monitor on and it says it's at 105. This is more accurate. This doesn't debunk, however, all like the good information that the watch has, because this heart rate monitor literally links up to the watch to show me like what my heart rate's at, so it gives me an accurate reading of what the heart monitor is actually recording. This was only $50 on Amazon, super cheap. I don't know if this is one of the Garmin models that you can swim with or whatnot. I'm guessing it's not, considering how cheap it was, but I definitely think it's in this today, Junior. I definitely think it's an accessory that's necessary for especially a lot of my runners out there, as this is something that I would only use in running. If I saw someone in the gym with this on, I would kind of think it was weird unless they were on a piece of cardio equipment. So yeah, definitely don't get this for working out or lifting. The next accessory that we have, which I was debating on putting in this video, is either wrist wraps or chalk. Now, what help with these, or what these help with, I should say, is they help you get a better grip on equipment, which helps you get a better contraction in the muscle. Or again, like I said, you can use chalk. I would say like most of the time I use chalk just because I like feeling it with my hands, because with wrist wraps, you literally put it on like this and then you wrap it around and then you're gripping it mostly with the wrap. And I just like to feel it in my hands. So again, it comes down to personal preference. I wasn't gonna put it in here, but I felt like it was necessary enough because I felt like it helped me so much with my powerlifting meet. That's why I put it in here. All right, and the next thing that we got is this right here, which is a hat, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. Now you might be thinking, what is a hat, man, I'm getting necessity and accessory mixed up so much. You guys might be thinking, why is a hat a good accessory or a necessary accessory? And the reason being is because of sweat. So as soon as it gets hot outside, I start to sweat. I'm not a big sweater, but as soon as it gets hot, I do start to sweat a lot more. And I hate when sweat gets in my eyes, especially because I wear contacts. And by wearing a hat, the hat absorbs the sweat, which is kind of gross to say, but at the same time, it saves me a lot of, I would say, pain. So definitely invest in a hat if it's something that you feel is annoying, or if you feel sweat's annoying, or you can get a headband. A headband would have been better because you can actually wash it compared to a hat, which I've never actually washed any of my hats. I don't know if that's gross or not. Last accessory that we have right here is a gym bag. Now, I think this is pretty obvious as to why this is a necessary accessory, and it's because it holds all your literally, that's its designed purpose is to hold all of your stuff that you use for running, lifting, or whatever. And so I'm also going to be giving one of these away in this video, and all you have to do is comment your favorite gym accessory or running accessory down below in the comments and like this video. So that's all you have to do, and you guys can win a free Transparent Labs bag along with some free KillBuillt gear. But that is gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you found some of these items, I would say, new or unique to you that you guys can start including in your accessory sort of ordeal or whatever you got going on. And my hair looks totally messed up, but that's gonna do it for today's video. Hope you guys liked today's video. If you guys did, be sure to give it a like. If any of you guys are new here, do not forget to press that subscribe button, because you guys know I will be back. And as always, die trying to do what you love. The sky is the limit, and I'll see you guys in the next one.